know, and then
Okay.
I'll let you. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all doing today on a lovely Friday afternoon? Welcome to the Grand Rounds. I'm Liz Reparedo. I'm an attorney in the CFLI practice group in Miami. Kelly Forrest and I are co-chairs of the Grand Rounds subcommittee of the FACP Outreach and Practice Group committees. We are pleased to present session number 4 of the Grand Rounds, a monthly lunchtime training showcasing a different Florida collaborative practice group each month. The first portion of the session today will be a group presentation and the balance will be a discussion period. If you have questions during the presentation, please place them in the chat and we'll kick off the discussion period with those questions. Once the question and answer session begins, please raise your hand by clicking at the bottom of your screen in the reaction box when you would like to speak, and the presenters will get to you. Okay, our next session will be held on June 18th and will feature the Sarasota Collaborative Family Law Professionals. The professionals that will be presenting that day will be Dr. Brad Broder and attorney Sharon O'Day. The topic will be the gray divorce. We will be looking at issues such as what to do if one of the parties is having early stage competency issues and creative ways to handle financial issues for elderly couples, as well as the issues of adult children involvement in the issues of older couple divorce. Thank you all for joining us today. I am happy now to introduce our presenters for today's Grand Round. We have the pleasure of having the Brevard Collaborative Association present for us today on a topic that I think we are all very interested in, that is the unique techniques for creating collaborative cases. Our presenters today are collaborative attorney Tiffany Cruz-Loris, mental health professional Dr. Kristen Wallace, financial professional Gina Gallo. Tiffany Loris is an attorney in Vieira, Brevard County, Florida, and has been practicing family law since 2001 and collaborative divorce since 2006. She is also a Supreme Court certified family mediator. Tiffany is a founding member of the Brevard Collaborative Association and currently serves as its president. Dr. Kristen Wallace is a certified child custody evaluator and certified forensic mental health evaluator with over a decade of experience. She is a collaboratively trained mental health professional and a founding member of the Brevard Collaborative Association. Gina Gallo has been a collaboratively trained financial professional since 2007 and has served as a financial neutral in numerous collaborative cases in Brevard County. She is an experienced expert in the areas of financial planning, investment management, and financial issues related to divorce. She is a Supreme Court certified family mediator and also a founding member of the Brevard Collaborative Association. So let's start talking about how we can create more collaborative cases. Take it away, Brevard.
All right, well, thank you for that introduction, Lizette. I'm Tiffany Loris, and like she said, I am the president of the Brevard Collaborative Association, and I'm going to share my screen here as we get started and start my PowerPoint here. All right, so we're going to be talking to you guys today about creating collaborative cases and some unique ways that we think we've come up with here in Brevard. This is a topic that I know we kind of beat a dead horse with it, but and I've talked about it a lot. But here in Brevard, we started up our collaborative association in 2018, in late 2018. So we're a fairly new group. I know that Lizette, said, and you probably heard that I've been practicing it for collaborative for a long time, but we had a group originally that kind of fell apart and we didn't practice collaborative for many, many years in Brevard. And myself, along with a few other professionals, decided we wanted to bring it back. So we've done that. We've been very successful in doing that and growing our group here in Brevard. And we think we do some unique things here. So we want to try and share that with you guys. So we're going to go through today some techniques for attorneys to secure collaborative clients. And really it's for all professionals, but some of my techniques I'm going to talk about are geared really a lot toward attorneys. And then we're going to talk about how we use neutral professionals in some unique ways, give you guys some real world examples, and talk about some upcoming opportunities that we've got that are in the works that we think are really exciting. So some techniques that we use here in Brevard for securing clients that I use. So some of these you've probably heard before, some of them might be a little bit new. We always inform our clients every single time we get on with a potential client, which in my office, we offer free 15-minute phone calls just to talk about process option. With anybody that calls in, sometimes we just take the calls cold if we're available, and other times we set them up for an appointment for that. But we always talk before anything else, before we start talking about facts, we inform everybody about the 4 different process options, and we've got some things that we use to do that. Everybody's, I'm sure, familiar with the 4 different process options. We talk about uncontested divorce, mediation, the collaborative process, and litigation, and we kind of compare and contrast those. So another way that we've found successful in really turning these people into clients is to always get an email address from every prospective client and send them materials when you're done with the consultation. And I'm going to show you guys in a few screens ahead some things that we actually send out that are informative for the parties to kind of recap what we talk about. We also offer clients an option for retaining us before they choose a process option. And I'm going to show you guys the language and retainer language that we use for that. But this is something that we came up with that has really made a huge difference for us, for the attorneys in my firm, because we found ourselves, telling people about process options and then saying, well, go talk to your spouse and, see if you want to use one of these non-litigation options. Because if they're not ready to file, we don't really know what option they're using. So we felt like we were potentially losing people at that point. So we've now developed an option where regardless of what option they choose, they don't need to know at that point. And we feel like we can help them choose and turn it into a collaborative case. So we allow them to retain us for our lowest priced option, which is an uncontested divorce. So, and we use a special retainer for that. So a lot of people on the phone decide, we're really comfortable with you, we want to hire you, but we don't know if our spouse is going to agree. So we use this option, and it has turned, we're busier than we've ever been at this point, because we've just turned these potential clients into clients very early on in the process. This also allows us to assist them in getting their spouse on board with collaborative or some other non-litigation option. So we have a specialized fee agreement that we use for that. And we've got some other materials that I'm going to show you here in just a minute that we use to help these people, once they hire us, turn it into a non-litigation case. We also offer joint consultations with both spouses. We don't get taken up on that very often, but we do offer it, and we've done it a few times if both spouses are willing to talk to us, and we use a conflict waiver for that. So that's another thing that we do. And okay, so this is a chart. I know it's probably a little bit hard to read, and my intent isn't for you guys to kind of digest everything that's in it, but just to show you, this is what we email to all prospective clients after we've spoken with them and gotten their email address. It's developed by the Brevard Collaborative Association, and it really puts together nicely the 4 different options and gives them some real in-depth information about the benefits of each one. So we talk about how many professionals are involved, what's the focus in this particular option, how much control do they have, what is information sharing like, what are the practicalities of this particular option, the efforts that they're going to put into it and that the professionals put into it, privacy considerations, and then retainer, costs and how that varies between the different. So it gives them something they can actually tangibly hold on to and actually take to their spouses and show them, hey, this is our options. And we have found this to be very, very helpful. So I'm more than happy to share this with anybody that's interested in using it. So you can let me know, and we're happy to share this with anyone who wants it. So this is what we email to parties at the end of our consultation. This right here is the language that we use for when they hire us and we don't know what process option they're using. So we take our standard retainer agreement, which I'm assuming all of you attorneys that are here today have one and use one. And we just added in this paragraph that says, if it's determined your case will not be an uncontested divorce or go to pre-suit mediation, because we kind of charge the same retainer for a pre-suit mediation case, a different process option must be chosen. The options and additional retainers required are as follows. And we set forth how much money they need to have in trust if their case is going to be collaborative or if their case is going to turn into traditional litigation. So it's all laid out in one fee agreement right up front. They know the costs involved, you know, depending on the process that gets chosen, and it's all done at the beginning. We don't have to use any other retainers for depending on a change in the process. So that's been really, really helpful for us. We like this option that we're doing. This is a sample letter that we use once somebody retains us and we are trying to help them turn it into a collaborative case. We've got this letter that we send out to the other spouse, and it's a very friendly letter. It gives them information in a very short one page. We don't want to overload anybody, but we put it on our letterhead. We send it to the other spouse. It directs them to our practice group website. And this has been also very helpful. And we've had multiple cases that have converted to collaborative this way, when the other spouse actually gets it and does go to this website and looks at our professionals and goes and talks to one. And so this is very, very helpful. And when parties hire us early on using this, you know, specialized retainer agreement without knowing the option, then we can jump in and get involved and help them turn it into collaborative by actively, you know, soliciting the other spouse and giving them information in a very friendly, neutral way. So this has been helpful for us as well. And then this is just a collaborative dual consultation conflict waiver. And again, I'm happy to send any of these documents to anybody that would like them. I know some people across the state are using this as well, but we just have a quick, you know, we fill in the names the parties sign just so that there's a waiver. And when we talk to people in these dual consultations, we make it clear we're not answering any questions about legal issues. We're not giving any legal advice at all. We're only talking about the process options and specifically about collaborative and the benefits of it and how we kind of work in that scenario. So that's something that we use if we do those dual consultations. So a lot of times we get a reluctant client who doesn't quite understand the benefits of the collaborative process, no matter what we tell them as an attorney. And so we've kind of developed ways to hopefully work around that. And so if a party starts with an attorney and they're just really reluctant, then we move to a neutral professional at that point. And we actually refer people out to our various neutral professionals, depending on, you know, whether it's more of a financial case or more of a child-based case or an emotional type case. We'll kind of pick and choose and refer them to a neutral. So I'm going to turn it over for right now to Gina Gallo for her to talk to you about her role when we send her cases, for her to assist in turning a case into a collaborative case.
Thanks, Tiffany. So as I'm listening to you, I'm reminded, I hadn't prepared to say this, but I kind of fell into this years and years ago, where I was recognizing nuances and things that were happening that needed professional financial assistance, people in the dissolution process. So it was kind of a natural fit, and then collaborative for me to go in and help talk, being referred by the attorneys, and talk to these potential collaborative clients on how a financial neutral can assist them was just a natural fit, because it's what I'd been doing all these years, but almost after the fact. So it was great that I could get on board before and hopefully solve some problems. One of the things I like to do is tell them that using the financial neutral is leveling the playing field. we want to provide healthier outcomes. And if one party is more financially savvy than the other party, you need a level playing field because they're not going to understand, and all of the angst and anxiety that goes along with this crisis mode that clients are in, by telling them that if you're the non-financial spouse, that we are going to be starting with a level playing field. So an example is, in fact, Tiffany has sent me several people over the years, and a client of hers was going through an uncontested divorce and it was going nowhere. I think it was 3 years or so. And they came to me and we kind of talked about the different financial issues and how I could be somewhat of an organizing source, you know, gathering the information. Money's emotional, divorce is emotional, and this put them at ease. They ultimately decided not to go collaborative. I'd love to tell you they did, but they did actually retain me to help kind of through the mediation process. But that happens all the time where people come over and we can talk about these financial nuances that come up. I want to educate one or both parties on the full picture. Choices made at the time of marriage have a great impact on today. And I feel like a good financial neutral can explain that without offending one or both parties on what they chose years ago and how it is affected today. And so educating them on the full picture of what one working spouse versus a non-working spouse is important. Some of the financial expectations that I help educate, let's talk about budgeting. I like to explain that I can create workable budgets. One household is now becoming two, and that matters. And financial affidavits can be overwhelming. So I explained that there is the financial affidavit process, and I'm happy to help assist in completing that. Real estate. I think we all know there's so many horror stories on marital homes and what to do, but the house is a very emotional attachment. And so you'll have someone possibly, and I like to talk to these, to the parties about the house and not to look at it as such an emotional attachment, but to kind of look at the full picture, because hanging on to something in a time of crisis that doesn't make financial sense can have long-term effects. An example I can give you is someone came to speak to me, and they're actually in California. It's a friend, and they are not going through the collaborative process, which in Santa Cruz, California, I think lots of people go through the collaborative process. And there's a home that is more than half the net worth and very little owed on the mortgage. And these people she's truly considering keeping it. And I explained to her that the home will own you. You're not going to own the home when the real estate taxes are in excess of, $15,000, $20,000 a year, even if there's little to no mortgage. So talking to the potential clients about real estate and the financial side effects that can happen in keeping a home that you can't afford. I also educate on retirement plans. One case came in and I looked at it, and all of the assets were in qualified plans. And this was something that's going to have to last a lifetime to provide for the parties. And my first thought was, well, we have to secure this money. And that kind of goes down to my creative solutions on the next bullet point, is we have to secure this money and make sure that we don't have a market sell-off. I mean, this is actually pre-COVID. And so that actually did happen. And I was very fortunate that I kind of saw that. And we were able to secure not having a 30% decline due to a pandemic coming. So educating them about retirement plans and everything that goes with them. Another example on a retirement plan that I let people know about, there's 401k loans. And how are those loans affected the non-working spouse? I have a case right now that this is something that I would explain if someone comes in and they have a 401k loan. And how does that work? Does one party pay it back, and the other party doesn't have any responsibility. So in this particular case, we used that as an asset, because loans are asset and a lot of assets, and a lot of people don't realize that a qualified plan loan in your employer sponsored plan is an asset. So we demonstrate that and how that works. There are lots of creative solutions that we come up with. I try and explain that in consultations when talking to clients about collaborative. And we all know that we want them to take control and of their own destiny rather than allowing someone else to do so. And by going over the retirement plans, the alimony, the child support, real estate, budgeting, all of those items helps them understand this particular alternative dispute method, I believe. So one of the last things that I talk to them about is I try and explain, again, divorce is emotional, money's emotional, and they're hot topics. And the hot topics to me, where you can really add value, or where I feel like I can add value, is talking to these clients, again, leveling the playing field, but talking to them in a way that doesn't offend. I'll give you an example. Imputing income, that's a very natural indication in divorce, and you've got someone, a non-working spouse, and who's able to work, and it was a choice they made at the beginning. Being able to educate that spouse about the options that are available, rather than just saying, well, we're going to impute income and this is what's going to happen, but really educating them and coming up with dialogue that helps them understand that they can have a career later in life, or retrain, re-educate, but navigating through those hot topics rather than just saying, well, you need to work. And I just think there's better ways to do it. So I try to come on board beforehand, explain all of these issues that surround the financial ramifications of divorce, and why I really feel like collaborative is an excellent way to create the destiny post-divorce that both parties and their families can really live comfortably with. So I feel like a financial professional can help sell these, the collaborative process. I don't really like the term sell, but that's what it is. We want to educate and sell. And the 4 methods that Tiffany showed in the previous slide is just an excellent tool. And not only do I help, but mental health professionals play a huge role. And I am going to now turn it over to Kristen Wallace, who will talk to you about how she helps prepare clients for the collaborative process. Kristen.
Thank you so much, Gina. So I'm Dr. Kristen Wallace, and to kind of echo what Gina just stated, I entered the mental health field hoping to be a marriage therapist. I really wanted to help families salvage relationship. And my goal for that was, I was a child of divorce. And so I wanted to help all those little children and make sure that their parents stayed together. And I quickly found, as a mental health professional, that I was being pushed in a different direction. And I am now, my specialty is high conflict divorce. And I kind of fell into, if I can't save the marriages, at least I can do something to help children and the way that they will experience their life post-divorce. So basically, when somebody comes to me or a couple comes in, we do a joint consultation. My goal in that discussion is to cast the vision forward of what is going to happen in this family and how the collaborative process can help to meet the emotional, spiritual, social needs of the family, educating them on how the process protects the integrity of the relationship between the co-parents that will be doing life going forward. And if it's a case where there aren't any children, just kind of honoring the relationship that did exist and casting the vision forward to be able to move on with minimal negative impact to the emotions of each of the spouses. So I really believe that mental health professionals, because of our training, because of everything that we learn throughout our career, we are uniquely qualified to address any sort of issues that might come up with a reluctant spouse. We can read the room, we can empathize with what is going on with that spouse. We speak in language that connects us to the other people across the room. And that warmth can really help a client who is struggling with the idea of divorce to think about what process they're going to walk through, rather than having an emotional shutdown or an emotional explosion. So by facilitating that first conversation, that educational meeting, reading the room and helping the clients to communicate their goals for the divorce, it highlights the need for a facilitator in the process and answers to why there is that neutral mental health professional. And also I try to model in that session what they're going to be experiencing with all of the other professionals in the room. So I do take on more of a facilitation role with some empathy and some of my communication training. I also like to kind of set the tone in terms of managing the client's expectations, explaining to them what types of things we can see when children go through a divorce, how divorce affects the entire family, not just the nuclear family, but even the in-laws and things of that nature, and helping them to understand how communication can get in front of any major issues that might come up in terms of parenting plans, or even talking about the financial issues that might arise as well. So I like to also talk to my potential clients about how we will be utilizing the process to build not just the unique team, but also the unique options for them, that because we're in collaborative, we can grab at different creative ideas on how to reconcile their current issues, and how we don't have as many creative options when we are going through a litigated process. So one of the ways that our team has utilized mental health professionals in creative ways, or that we've built a creative team, Tiffany, if you want to go to the next slide. Yeah. We had a case at one point in time where the clients were never married, but they did have a child, and they were seeking a modification in timeshare. And this was a very unique case. It started with the father wanting to utilize the collaborative process and the mother being reluctant to. And the mother already had a secured attorney. It was kind of like a family attorney. By family, I mean her family had utilized the same attorney, and that attorney was collaboratively trained. So it just made sense that if one party wanted to use the collaborative process and the other attorney was trained, that we should get that to go together. However, that other client wasn't willing to do that at first. And so what the team did was we utilized a collaboratively trained mediator, who's also a family attorney, to step in and educate the clients on the option of collaborative and how it would really meet their goals. This situation was very unique. We had a child who is situated to progress forward in athletics and possibly be an Olympic level athleticist. And so he was homeschooled and had 6 days worth of training that did not just happen after school hours, but during school hours as well. And so the issues of timeshare really were having to deal with his training schedule, his homeschooling, and if they were even going to progress on with the plans that had been made for the child to have that sort of trajectory forward. So the collaboratively trained mediator facilitated a conversation between them, got them to agree to the process, at which point the team needed to be chosen. So it just made sense that the facilitator would be this person who did this consultation, and what had the family law background, was collaboratively trained and a mediator. So we actually utilized an attorney in the facilitation role. And then I was invited to be the child specialist rather than the mental health neutral. So my role was to actually meet with the child and be the child's voice in the room during that case. And I don't believe that we would have gotten there if we didn't have that other facilitator attorney having the discussion to explain the process. And the original collaboratively trained attorney, who was the family's attorney, wasn't quite sure how to present this information to their client, who had been in a litigated mindset in the past. So by kind of tapping into our resources within the practice group, we were able to find the right fit and to create a very unique team that helped to establish what was necessary to be thought about and kind of open the conversation between the parties.
All right,
I'm
thanks,
getting-
Kristen. So I'm gonna jump back in here and kind of just wrap it up. We got a couple more slides, but you can see how sending reluctant parties to the neutral professionals that would actually be involved in these collaborative cases is such a powerful tool to get people to realize, hey, we can work with these other professionals, and what a benefit that is, and how they can bring value to their divorce in a way that maybe the attorneys can't really explain, or the attorneys are maybe a little bit more threatening. So that's something that we use that we have found to be successful in Brevard. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some community-based techniques for creating collaborative cases. Get involved in your local practice group if you're not. Obviously, probably everyone here is, or you might be in an area of the state where you don't have one close by, and I would encourage you to look into starting one. I did it with a very small group of dedicated professionals, and I'm happy to talk to anybody that has questions about starting a practice group, because we did it and we've been through it, and we've been successful with it. Having a quality website for your practice group with a directory of professionals is so important, because we use that in creating our cases. Like in the letter that I send out to spouses, we direct them to our website, and that's where they go, and that's where they're going to look to find a potential attorney to go talk to, or another professional. And so it's really important. It's an important part of creating collaborative cases. Making personal connections with people to grow your membership, because it's kind of it's more taking the long view of creating cases. It's not an immediate case, but the more people you bring into the collaborative fold in your community, the more cases you're ultimately going to be able to create, because you've got more people that have bought into it and are practicing it. Make friends with your clerk's office. This is something that's maybe kind of unique to Brevard. It sort of was a luck thing with us when we first started holding our membership meetings. I would send out an email blast to kind of the whole legal community in the area, and for some reason, our clerks, we have clerks from the pro se coordinator office of our clerk. They come to our BCA meetings, and they promote this for us. They talk to people about it. I personally got a case because my client went in to file his own kind of, use the forms with the pro se forms, and commented, hey, it seems like there must be a better way of doing this. And the clerk sitting there knew about collaborative and had been to our meetings and directed him to our website, and he hired me. And I actually used the letter to send to the other spouse, and that spouse hired another member in our group, and we had a very successful collaborative case. So, and our clerk has helped us promote events that we've held, posted our brochures in the pro se area of our clerk's office. So that's really key as well. I would encourage you to host workshops about the collaborative process for the public. because that educates people and can turn cases into collaborative clients for you. Getting your judiciary on board. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in my last slide of how important that is. And consider hosting a basic training in your group to get more professionals involved. So the last thing I really want to talk about before we segue into questions is this new opportunity. And I know this is a really tiny slide, but I just want to talk about it. Divorce options. Hopefully you're going to start to hear more about this in the coming months and in the next year. This is something that I'm working on a committee statewide with that I really didn't know about until a few months ago. So I'm working with some other people in the FACP. Divorce Options is a program that was developed and trademarked in California. And it's basically a workshop that's done online with presenters who are trained collaborative professionals from each field. And it's all laid out for you. They have the PowerPoint slides, and you just do this workshop that educates people about the different process options. Talks about collaborative, it talks about the other options, and it also kind of walks them through some, different legal issues and procedural issues that they're going to encounter as they go through a divorce. It's really an educational option. But it's something that we in Brevard had been talking to our judiciary about. And our judges, we have one of our judges used to be a collaboratively trained attorney that I used to do collaborative cases with. So we've got a lot of support in our judiciary here in Brevard. But this is something we were thinking of coming up with on our own of how can we get our judges to order people to get information about the different process options? And then, so we've been kind of working on that. It kind of got back on the back burner during COVID. And lo and behold, I get in touch with, another attorney in Florida who's working on this. And this already exists, this divorce options. So it's something that FACP has purchased the license for. And we're in the process of sub-licensing it for our group and a couple of other groups in the state to actually start putting on these workshops. And we are in the process of going to our judiciary. We are hoping to get an administrative order in place that requires all participants in a family law case to have to attend this workshop online and just sign up for one on Zoom and attend it and file a certificate, much like we do with parenting classes. Or in our county, we have people sign an attestation that they've read all the variety of administrative orders. So we're hopeful that with the support from our judges and our clerk's office, that this is going to become a reality for Brevard County, and then hopefully a model for the rest of the state to move forward and really convert a lot of these litigation cases into collaborative or some other form of non-litigation. So that's something exciting that you guys should keep your ears open for as we move through the rest of the year. So that's about it. Thank you guys. I've put our contact information there. If anybody wants to take that down and reach out to any of us, we're happy to communicate with you about any of these options. And so I will open it up for questions.
Tiffany, I think the main question was, can we have a copy of your slides and your like the forms and specifically that retainer language? And so I did inform everyone that we'll forward it to a point of contact and then they can disseminate it.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
I have a question, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Tammy, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. The last thing you were saying about the divorce options, you said that I missed exactly what you said about getting judges to mandate family attorneys to have to do the workshop. Is that what you were saying?
No, it's actually to mandate parties that are involved in a family law action to have to attend this workshop.
That's good.
So that's something that we've already kind of talked to our judges about the concept, and they are on board and supportive. So our next step is we're in the process of working on converting the slides for this divorce options thing that's been developed in California into Florida slides so that it's adapted for Florida. And once we get that done, our next step is to go to our local judges, take this, present it to them, And we're hoping that they will be receptive to an administrative order that requires people to attend, just like they have to attend a parenting class. And I think that the idea that this could take a lot of cases off of the judges' dockets will be very appealing to them. From what I've been told, I'm not sure on the validity of these numbers, but I've heard some numbers floating around from California that they're having a 70 to 80% conversion rate from litigation to non-litigation after people attend this workshop. So that's incredible.
That's amazing. Yeah. Thank you.
So I had a question about the letter that you talked about. This is Valerie. You mentioned that there's a letter you use to send out to spouses when your client's interested in collaborative. What do you do if you get no response to that letter?
Well, I've had that happen, obviously. And the last time I had that happen, my client really didn't want to give up. And so I sent a much more detailed letter. I went into it was like a 2-page long letter that I just crafted that was more geared toward the facts of that case and talking about the benefits. And actually that person did go and get and talk to a collaboratively trained attorney. And so that's one thing that you can do. I mean, obviously we all know that not every case is going to turn collaborative. You're just going to have a lot of obstinate spouses. A lot of people still think, oh, if you thought of this, if you want to use it, there must be something in it for you and negative for me, which is just crazy. They're not really opening their minds and listening. But that's about all you can really do is continue to try to pursue it and reach out and offer them a joint consultation. Let them know, hey, if you don't want to talk to me, would you go with your spouse and talk with somebody like Gina or Kristen and try these other things that we've proposed here. So, I mean, once you're going to know at some point if you've hit a brick wall and you just need to do something else. But the letter, I don't let the letter be the last thing if it goes unanswered. I try some other techniques.
I have a question. If we send clients to someone like Gina or Kristen, what kind of fees do they charge for that kind of consultation so we can give our clients a heads up?
That's a good question, Gina.
I'll answer that if you like. Thank you. That is a great question. I typically don't charge anything. I use a 15-minute to 30-minute consultation that I would with any new client, trying to make sure that the process is right for them. I find that in that 15 minutes to 30 minutes that they'll know whether they're going to move forward. And if they want to utilize the process or utilize my services, they can then retain me from that point forward. But I don't charge anything for them to come and talk about the collaborative process.
Kristen, what about you?
That's the same for me, as long as if it's not part of the case. So when I do a consultation and it's like this person is just trying to figure out where they stand, it's a free 15 to 30-minute consultation as well.
Thank you.
I believe Elaine Silver wanted to ask a question.
That is now the time.
You're up, Elaine.
Okay, hi. So I'm Elaine Silver. I'm president for the Florida Academy of Collaborative Professionals. I am just in awe of what Tiffany and Gina and Kristen and all of their amazing superheroes in that community have created in Brevard, in establishing a real serious collaborative world in about the blink of an eye. I mean, I was there when they just started, and it wasn't that long ago, and it's just amazing. So for anyone, any professional anywhere in the state who says, I can't get collaborative cases, learn from these folks in this community. More amazing training at the Tampa conference, the 9th annual, which is coming up. I put the link in the chat room if you haven't already signed up. And if there's any way you can swing to be in Tampa, June 4th and 5th for a lot of fun and a lot of learning, we would be amazed to have you there. And, we have, I think, 60 people on this call. from all over the state, which is just heartwarming and amazing, the strength of this collaborative community statewide. So thank you all. And Tammy is one of our co-chairs and says she wants very much to see you there at the conference. Did I leave anything out about conference, Tammy?
Our numbers are rising and I'm really excited. We're close to 150 attendees and we're hoping for a goal of 200 so that we get to see as many possible faces as possible. We are going to be more considerate and respectful of everybody's safety and comfort regarding, the transition of COVID and COVID restrictions. So we're going to keep to mask wearing in indoor spaces, and we're going to have a sticker system so that it kind of eliminates some awkward interactions, which will kind of denote what your preference is for interaction. Close, distance, a hug or a handshake's okay. So we're going to do that. And we have some great things going on at the conference. We have amazing keynotes. We have 2 keynote speakers. One from Canada who's done an amazing amount, like a lifetime of research. She's a professor from the University of Windsor. She's written many books. The one that kind of got our attention was The New Lawyer, which had some really valuable information that helps us to understand the needs of the evolving pro se as well as family litigants, non-litigants going through divorce process. So we're going to learn a lot from Julie, and then our ending keynote speaker is Nadine Smith, and she's going to also illuminate and open our eyes to the needs, the understanding of the LGBTQ population. And that's going to help us. Our theme is access to collaborative, and we're looking to try to understand all populations, all demographics, and how to serve everybody better. And that's the theme of our conference this year. So we're going to learn a lot and learn new ways to support everybody in the community with a process that I think we all really believe in. I think we all do. I don't even need to question that. So yeah, that's my commentary.
Thank you, Tammy. And we'll get to, emerge from this year and see each other in the flesh, as it were. So I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Great. So does anyone have any other questions? Trying to see if I see everyone's little box. Okay, I don't see any other questions right now. So thank you all for attending. Thank you so much, Tiffany, Kristen, and Gina. It was a wonderful presentation. On behalf of the FACP practice group and outreach committee, Kelly and I would like to thank you all for attending and thank the presenters for their wonderful information. I know that everyone has been excited and everyone wants your materials, so I will find a way to get that out to everyone. And please remember to send us any suggestions you may have for future grand rounds. And I hope to see you all at the FACP conference in Tampa. Thank you all for joining. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you all. Bye.
Good info.